Hey folks, this is Kelani. With patch 8.1.5 hopefully just around the corner, I figured we'd have a look at some of the stuff we can get done to make sure we're in a really good position when the patch finally lands. If you're curious about when 8.1.5 could arrive, it could be as early as this very next reset, though that's not very likely. Most of the signs are pointing towards a March 5th or March 12th release date, so we shouldn't have too much longer to wait. Of course, Blizzard could shatter all of our hopes and dreams by making me wrong by over a month yet again. We'll just forget about the whole patch 8.1 releasing in November thing, but that just means we'll have a little bit longer to get all of the stuff on this list ticked off in good time. I would still assume an early March release date though. So what should you get done to prepare for this new wave of content? Let me just open up my little notepad here and we can go down the list. One of the most exciting parts of patch 8.1.5 is going to be the new profession items. You heard me right, professions are getting a small update, believe it or not. Every crafting profession in the game will receive a special quest line which takes you on a little adventure to acquire your super awesome tool of the trade. These range from a blacksmithing hammer that gives your created blacksmithing items a chance to be indestructible, to an enchanting rod that gives you more materials for everything you disenchant. While every tool has a useful ability or passive effect, they also come with some more interesting interactions. The enchanting rod allows you to activate depleted golems out in the world which follow you around as a guardian pet thing, while the Kazgorian blacksmithing hammer allows you to repair your own gear once per hour. That should save you quite a bit on repair bills for sure, so these items are going to be worth picking up almost no matter what profession you're running around with. As far as I know, they are only available for crafting professions right now, so the gatherers out there might have to wait a bit longer to get their cool little profession tool, assuming they get one at all, but that means the majority of professions should still get something. There's a few steps involved before you can actually use your tool though. You have to pick up and complete a profession quest chain to earn the recipe, and then you have to actually make the tool. To pick up the quests, you're going to need to be maxed out in whatever profession you're running around with, so max blacksmithing to start the hammer quests, max enchanting to start the rod quests, you get the idea. So the first thing you're going to want to make sure you get done before 8.1.5 rolls around is max out any professions that you want the tool of the trade for. Some of these are going to be super useful while others might not be particularly enticing. We'll go into more detail about every tool of the trade in a future video, which will include specifics about how you acquire them and exactly what they do. But if you end up wanting any of these items on your alts as well, then you'll need to level up their professions too. Obviously, we can't actually get the quests until 8.1.5 goes live, but we can make sure we're as ready as we possibly can be to craft the tool when the time comes. The crafting requirements for every tool were changed quite considerably very recently. They used to require a whole bunch of title cores and a lot of raw materials. That's been cut down quite significantly, but many of the regions are now linked to dungeons. So when 8.1.5 comes out and you get your quest chain done, you'll need to run quite a few dungeons before you can craft your tool. That's not something we can really prepare ahead of time because you can't get them until 8.1.5 comes around, but you're also going to need some other materials. Every tool currently requires 10 expulsum, so make sure you keep at least 10 for every tool you want to craft. The only exception right now is engineering, which only requires 1 expulsum, but that might be an error. As for the other materials that you can stockpile right now, I'll go through this super quickly. Alchemists will need 50 anchorweed and 1 mystical cauldron. Blacksmiths will need 25 storm silver ore and 15 platinum ore. Enchanters will need 25 umbra shards and 15 veiled crystals. Engineers will need 50 insulated wiring, 15 storm silver ore and 10 platinum ore. Scribes will need 50 crimson ink and 15 viridescent ink. Jewel crafters will need 10 kraken's eyes, and that's actually it. Leatherworkers will need 50 blood-stained bones, 50 tempest hides and 25 hardened tempest hides, but last but not least, tailors will need 100 tide spray linen and 100 nylon thread. All of those items you can pick up right now to make sure the only things you'll need after the patch is the stuff that comes from dungeons, which you again won't be able to collect until you're actually on the quest. I would expect some of these materials to skyrocket in price when this patch hits because everyone will want their tool as soon as possible, so if you pick it all up now, you might save yourself a few gold. So you can max out your profs and do a little shopping before 8.1.5 hits live servers. Patch 8.1.5 will also continue the war campaign. Where do we go after the Alliance lays siege to Dazar? They may have killed Rastakhan, but it's not like they got away without a scratch. The Horde chased them out of the city fairly quickly, taking out a few key Alliance characters along the way. The assault also unified the Horde and the Zandalari, something this attack was supposed to prevent somehow, but both sides have been left in tatters, with a lot of ships at the bottom of the ocean. The new chapters of story in patch 8.1.5 will explain what happens to the factions when they have a little bit of time to recuperate, but also show us that there's always dangers lurking in the shadows. To make sure you can hop into the new story as soon as possible, you're going to need to get caught up with the war campaign on any character that you want to experience the new stuff on. So make sure you've done all of the war campaign quests leading up to the Battle of Dazar raid, including the last quest for completing the Battle of Dazar raid itself. Then when the new chapters are unlocked, you don't have to play catch up at all. It's always better to be prepared, especially if you're considering about playing any alts going forward. Another key part of the war campaign, and making sure you're all up to date, is the new allied races that are coming in patch 8.1.5. The Zandalari Trolls and the Kulturan humans are finally going to be playable. I know, it's about time, right? I almost forgot that these chaps were meant to be a part of this expansion. We've been waiting so long, but as per usual, these allied races will have a few requirements to unlocking them. You can't just hop in and play a Zandalari Troll right away on patch day, sadly, but the requirements aren't all too bad, and you can get pretty much every single one of them done right now. The only thing you're going to have to do later on is the quest to actually recruit them. But that's not going to be in there until patch 8.1.5 actually goes live. For the Zandalari Trolls, you're going to need Exalted with the Zandalari Empire reputation. You need to complete the Zandalar Forever achievement, which involves finishing all the major storylines on Zandalar, and then you also need the Tides of Vengeance achievement, which is just completing the patch 8.1 war campaign. For the Kulturan humans, you need Exalted with the Proudmoore Admiralty, a Nation United achievement, which is the Kulturas storylines, and then the Alliance version of Tides of Vengeance, which again is the 8.1 war campaign. Getting caught up with the war campaign is super easy, it just takes a little bit of time to get through all the quests. The storyline achievements for Zandalar and Kulturas are probably already tucked under your belts, and if not, just finish up the storyline quests in every zone and you're more or less sorted. Now the reputation might be the part that trips up a few folks, especially if you haven't been playing since the start of Battle for Azeroth, but that's what this video is for. You have a few weeks left until this patch hits, so if you really want to play one of these allied races, make sure you're getting all your emissaries done for those two factions and finishing up as many world quests as you can stomach to cross that exalted finish line. If you get all of that done, you'll just have the quick intro quest to finish to gain access to the new allied races once the patch hits live servers. Patch 8.1.5 will also introduce the next set of heirloom upgrades, which are definitely going to help with that allied race leveling grind. These upgrades will make your heirlooms work all the way up to level 120, so the leveling speed of 110 to 120 should increase quite dramatically when the patch hits. But these upgrades aren't free as you might expect. You'll need to save up a little sack of gold if you want to buy them as the patch hits. Each armor upgrade will cost you 5,000 gold and each weapon upgrade will cost you 7,500 gold, and that's assuming you already have your heirlooms upgraded to level 110. That's a good chunk of change for sure, especially when you start upgrading multiple sets of heirlooms, but these prices are considerably cheaper than what they used to be. Can you imagine paying 15,000 gold per armor piece upgrade and 22,500 gold per weapon upgrade? Because they were the old prices. Quite a difference indeed. But if heirlooms are on your list of must-haves for patch 8.1.5, be sure to put around 35k gold aside for each set you want to upgrade, and even more than that if you want to upgrade things like trinkets and rings. If that sounds a little too pricey for you, you can get your hands on these upgrades during time walking events as well. They cost 1,000 badges for armor upgrades and 1,200 badges for weapon upgrades. If you have plenty of alts lying around with a few thousand badges each, that might be a cheaper way to upgrade everything you need. Either way, save up some gold or save up some time walking badges before 8.1.5 if you want to pick up 120 heirlooms ASAP. And then this last one isn't necessarily something you have to do, but it's definitely something you should be aware of. In patch 8.1.5, two new mounts are being introduced, an Alliance armor-clad wolf and a Horde horsey who is clearly glowing with pride and bloodlust. These mounts were a reward from completing the patch 8.1 war campaign on both Horde and Alliance sides, otherwise known as the faction traitor mounts. Someone suggested I call them the double agent mounts instead because of the whole double agent achievement and whatnot, but that just didn't feel aggressive enough. If you decide to turn traitor, you can get yourself a pretty cool looking mount in patch 8.15, so you can either wait until you're bored later on down the line to get this done and get the mount then, or if you have absolutely nothing to do for the next few weeks, but you still want to romp around the World of Warcraft, this is something you can actively work towards right now if you level up on the opposite faction to what you're currently playing, but you won't be rewarded for it until the patch actually launches. Just something to think about. And that's everything I'll be getting done before patch 8.15 goes live sometime soon. Remember, the 5th of March or the 12th of March, that's when we're thinking it will land. Hopefully I'm not too wrong this time. Last time was a little embarrassing. When do you think patch 8.15 will hit live servers? Is there anything specific you're making sure you get done before the patch goes live? Leave all your thoughts in the comments section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, you can find a link in the description below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.